Have you ever stopped to think about why your family does things a certain way? Or do you just join in and follow along? Take holiday traditions, for example. Maybe your family celebrates a certain holiday one way, but another family in your community celebrates it differently. Where do those differences come from when, after all, you live in the same place, may have attended the same school, and more than likely share the same religion? Maybe the answer is a difference in a specific culture's influence. The other family could have been exposed to cultures that yours wasn't, leading to different cultural traditions being passed down. Do you know what kind of traditions have been passed down in your family? Have you ever wondered who it was that started those traditions, or where in the world they may have come from? While working on a family tree project in high school, I learned that both sides of my family can be traced back to a number of different countries, making for a number of different cultural influences. Even though we have ties to these other places, the culture that shows the most prominence after talking to my grandparents and doing a little research is the German culture. Most of my direct family is from Gibson County, and according to the 2000 census, around 35% of the population is of German descent. This is more than any other cultural group in the area. If paying a bit of attention, you can find hints of German influence all around. For instance, the town of Habstadt has a name that is obviously German, and its annual street festival, the Laufenfest in Biergarten, is also recognizably German. Another not so obvious place to see some German is in our phone book, with many names like Mikkel, my mother's maiden name. My grandpa told me that his grandparents came to America from Germany by sea around 1920 and moved to southern Indiana to farm. He said many Germans in the area made a living from farming, and like him, many generations of Mikkel have done the same. Along with farming, I think many of the old German traditions have stopped with my grandparents though. They can remember being younger and not being able to understand some of my grandpa's older family because of strong German accents. They also remember making Blutwurst, which is blood sausage, and Springerles, a popular German cookie, along with other German foods. Today, my cousins, my sister, and I, even our parents, don't hold on to any German traditions. We don't keep any old recipes, we don't know much about German culture, and we don't consider our religion and holidays as being German, even though many popular Christmas traditions do have German roots. Some consider our roots very important, but I think letting go of those old traditions is a good thing, as long as we try not to forget them. After all, American culture seems to be all about having mixed backgrounds and making new traditions out of old ones. I don't think it's a coincidence that some of us have many ties to other cultures and at the same time don't accept a particular one as our own. Based on what I can see, a broader cultural influence leads to a more, quote, American family. It seems that those traditions and influences of other cultures are diluted down over time, resulting in our new traditional American ways, and are tailored to fit a certain family or group of people. It makes sense that as a culture merged through marriage or moving to a new country, our ancestors passed on beliefs and traditions that made sense to them, that fit their new lifestyles, and just forgot about the rest. Today, my family's traditions are based more on morals and ethical standards, things like working hard, doing what is right, and having a close, loving family, rather than what has been passed down to us. We celebrate the main Christian holidays along with Thanksgiving, making sure that the whole family can get together for them. For those holidays, we always sit down for a meal and spend time with each other after my grandma leads us in prayer. It's important to us that we're there for each other and lend a hand when we can, knowing we would get the same in return. Also, we all value trying hard and doing well in no matter what we do, whether that's school, sports, or our jobs, and we support each other along the way. Ask anyone, and I think most would agree that these things are more important than anything handed down from a certain culture. Before starting this assignment, I would have said that both sides of my family were completely traditional American, but I wouldn't have been able to give much insight as to what that meant. After having some time to think about it, I feel that not being able to provide that insight actually turned out to be good insight in itself, and that we can't really define traditional American culture. Many of us share similar ideological principles and live similar lives, but there are many subtle differences of tradition that separate us all from one another. I feel very lucky to live in a country whose culture is in a way blended from the good traditions of others, and I intend on passing on to my kids what I consider to be the important traditions of my family. Thank you.